Ever wanted to see an FPV feed without putting on the goggles? Or to let someone else watch the feed whilst you fly? Or to share your FPV footage immediately via social media? If so, then this product might be ideal. Let's find out. So here's an accessory review, and it is the Eachine ROTG01 UVC receiver. Don't you just love the Eachine names they give to their products? Now this is an interesting little product. Quite often I've been flying FPV, I've wanted other people to see what I can see through my goggles, but without having to give them goggles. And quite a lot of the time actually, people who aren't into FPV don't like wearing goggles. They find it quite claustrophobic or dizzy making. So this could be a solution for you. Now the other really useful feature of this is as a recorder. Sometimes you've got goggles that don't have a built-in DVR, or on the other hand, you might want to be able to share your flights immediately via social media and not have to wait until you get home. This basically is a DVR in conjunction with your mobile phone so that it stores it to your phone and you can email it, share it, do whatever you want with it immediately. So it comes in this little aluminium box. Now worth pointing out that this only costs £13, or that's about $15. So cheap considering what this actually is. So that is the unit. I mean, it's just tiny. It has a power supply option on the bottom as well, a separate power supply option, but there's also a USB port there as well, and that connects into your phone. On top, there's a little antenna, RPSMA antenna port, and you do get an antenna with it as well. So we'll just stick that on there now. On the front of the little receiver is a button. Pressing that basically channels through each of the 150 channels that this has, so it lets you page through the individual frequencies. However, if you press and hold it, it actually does a scan of 150 channels, finds the strongest one and sits on that channel for you automatically. So really easy to use. You also get a USB cable. Now this is not a standard USB cable. It's actually got slightly different wiring for each of the USB ports on each side. So when you do plug this into your phone, make sure that you get the right way around. But of course it will either work or it won't work. You're not going to damage anything. So once you've got this all unpackaged, and it's quite nice that it comes in this little aluminium case, you need to then install the app, and the app you'll find on the Play Store. It's called Go FPV. So I'm using Android here. Open up the Play Store, launch the search and look for Go FPV. Once you've then found it, click install. It will download and install it within a few seconds, and then it's ready for use. Now once you've done that, you can then take the USB cable, plug it into the side of the receiver. Now I can't remember which way around these go, so we're going to try this way initially. Plug it into the bottom of your phone, and your phone will detect that you've plugged in a USB device. Launch the app, and then you might get an error saying that your phone doesn't look like it supports a USB driver. However, just press play at the bottom. You'll be given some options on which camera you want to use. You'll see the UVC camera option there. Click OK. And we are now live. So there are various controls once you've got your live feed. Looking along the bottom, you've got the stop button, which stops the live feed and stops the app. In fact, it kills it. You've then got the play button, which we've already talked about, which lets you choose your camera. You've got the record button, which is a little video camera icon, and that lets you actively record what you're seeing on the screen. You've then got the buttons to zoom in or zoom out, so to make the image bigger or smaller, which basically pans and scans it. Then there's an option to get rid of the dual screen. Now the reason we're seeing two is because this is geared up for a VR headset where you get the dual screens, so you can actually use this whilst you're flying your drone. So we're going to press this button here, which turns it into one single image, which is much better. And then finally, you've got settings on the right hand side with a lot of options in there to change how this all looks and works. Now I've got my Dartmax here. What I'm going to do is connect that up so that we get a live FPV stream. And then what we'll do is look at how this looks through the camera. So now we've got an image, and immediately actually we can see the image on the phone. So this has automatically jumped to that. However, if we press this button on top of the receiver, we can keep paging through the various channels. And as mentioned, if I press and hold it, it will actually start scanning through the entire band. In fact, multiple bands, 150 channels across those 5 or 6 different bands. So what it will do now, it will look through the entire channel map, it will find the strongest signal, and once it's found it and once it's finished scanning, it will then go back to that strongest signal. There we go. So you can see now it's locked on the screen from our Dartmax here, and move it around whilst you can see both at the same time. You can see the latency is minimal there. There clearly is more latency than through your goggles that you would see, probably about 100 milliseconds, but not bad at all. The key thing is, of course, you're not really going to be racing drones through this view. This is really just for using as a DVR or for giving to somebody else to have a look at. So what I'm going to do now is a test. I've got my Fat Shark SEs with a built-in DVR, I've got the ROTG01 here, and I've got my Dartmax to use as our example. I'm going to start recording on both, and then I'll show you the footage on screen. So you should now be able to see the footage there above. And if I just move the Dartmax around a little bit to show you what it can see, let's see the quality of the DVR there. Now I can't see it at the moment, of course, not until I finish this review and look at the actual footage, but looking at the screens now, hopefully that gives you some idea of just the quality of the difference between the two at least. But as I'm moving this around now, the latency on the ROTG01 is really minimal, very, very impressive, and definitely handy as well when you're tuning your camera and you don't want to have to wear your goggles to see the menus. A bit of post-test narration here so that I can comment on the recorded quality. It's good in terms of picture, although a bit overexposed. The text from the VTX on-screen display also looks slightly distorted, but that's possibly related to the app zoom setting that I may not have set correctly. Overall though, it's much better than I had expected. So in summary, for the price, I'm really impressed with this. I would say it's great for tuning, great for letting others experience FPV without wearing a headset, great for use as a DVR. Just in general, for the price, really good value. Links to the ROTG01 are in the video description. Comment below with your thoughts and give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, click subscribe. Thanks very much for watching.